I guess the topic for today is how to manage anxiety and how it shows up in women. I said I'll give it a few more seconds and then we're going to get started. Welcome, Patrick Brown. Nice to have you here. Are you enjoying today? Okay, let's give it a couple more seconds and then I'm going to hit the ground running, conscious of timing. So let's do this. For those that are new, I guess, to my page, to my following, I'm Karen Hartley. I'm a psychotherapist and I specialise in anxiety and stress and trauma. My clients are predominantly female really, and I've been doing this for 8 years. I'd say about 8 years. I guess what I hope for my clients is that I can help them manage their emotional resilience and their well-being. My goal is to provide them with a toolkit, because this thing called life can be challenging, you know. And I guess we all need our different tools to help us navigate that. I also offer a number of workshops to companies and NLD leaders. So that can be anything from building confidence within themselves and the team, preventing burnout, which is a really big thing at the moment, building up emotional resilience, and again, just managing anxiety. How do the leaders manage their anxiety and stress, and then how do they facilitate that throughout the team? So let's get going. I know we live in a current climate where anxiety continues to be on the rise. Stress levels are increasing. I was thinking actually about, I think it was this time, 3 years ago, we were entering into our first lockdown. So there was a lot of uncertainty around and a lot of stress. And again, now, current climate, cost of living, there's redundancies left, right and centre. People are just uncertain and not sure what things are going to be looking like. But what is anxiety? What does that look like? You know, we all get anxious from time to time. I feel like it can be a healthy mechanism, but when it starts to interfere with your mental health and your stress levels, then that's when you have to kind of navigate it. So what is anxiety? Anxiety is a constant worry, an unease, a constant fear of something that's going to happen or something that we predict is going to happen. And I feel that probably 5 times out of 10, the worry that we have, things don't happen. Actually, it doesn't come out to pass. That's why a lot of time when I'm working with clients, we're like, let's talk this through. Let's talk it to worst case scenario. And I guess I'm the voice of rationale, because the thing that you're worried and concerned about, we're not there yet. Let's kind of bring the car right back and let's just stick to the current moment. What are the facts? What is the evidence on this current day? So that's what anxiety is. And the reality is that anxiety often shows up early in childhood. So I'd say probably around the age of 7 to 8, you'll kind of get a sense of, I'm feeling anxious, but most times we don't recognise it. We can't call it for what it is. I feel like family members aren't able to label it either. And then what happens is that we have this really big gap where we have these anxiety symptoms showing. We don't recognise what it is. And then we'll probably, maybe 10 years later, we'll go and seek help, go to the doctor, or maybe have therapy. And while there's nothing wrong with that, I guess one of the issues is that it's then harder to treat the disorder. It's not impossible, just makes it a little bit harder. That's why I say to people, have some grace with yourself, because it's maybe taking years of building up these habits, and some of them aren't always great, you know, or these unhelpful thinking styles. It's going to take a while, I guess, to dismantle that and change the narrative. So what are the causes for anxiety? I guess the number one is stress. I always feel that stress comes first, anxiety will then follow. Stress. It's a number of stress build-ups. I then say it's traumas. And when I talk about traumas, people often focus on the big traumas. So when we say big traumas, it could be maybe natural world disaster. I just said COVID, cost of living, could be an accident, maybe even a death of a loved one. That's something that's considered a big trauma. But there's also small traumas that can be just as impactful. So that could be maybe financial issues, relationship problems, problems at work. All of these are traumas that, again, can lead on to anxiety or stress. Maybe it's your attachment style. If you have an anxious attachment style, then there's a deep need for order and certainty. And again, that is going to show up in your everyday life. It's going to show up in how you think and how you navigate. How does it show up in your mood? So mentally, how does it affect you? It could go on to depression, excessive worrying. You could find yourself disconnecting from the world. You might find that you need constant reassurance, or that you're always irritable. Just sometimes you're around some people, it's like, what's wrong? It's just always, just a little, you know? So I guess that's some of the mental ways that it can show up. Physically, sweating, or you're having constant headaches, you know. Is there a need to constantly need the toilet? actually. You know, you might find that you're nauseous, increased heart rate. I'm sure everyone can resonate at different times where they've had some of these physical symptoms. And as International Women's Day, as I said, I wanted to show how it shows up in women. The reality is that statistically, anxiety shows up. Well, basically, women are twice as likely to be diagnosed with anxiety than men. I think we've got, well, reality is we're more prone to stress. We are. We're more prone to stress. I think there's something around brain chemistry that is also a factor in terms of why women are diagnosed more anxious than men. And we've also got our hormones to thank for that. Hormone fluctuations play a part. As women, we cry more, we do. I'm here for men crying. I've always said there's vulnerability in strength, but the reality is that women as a whole, we cry more, we're more inclined to show our emotions, and we're more inclined to lean in on our networks, you know? So we're going to show our emotions, we're going to show our stress levels a bit more. Another thing is that we tend to ruminate a lot more. We can't just think it over. And I guess we always go to the worst case scenario. We kind of go down this rabbit hole of doom and gloom, where I don't think men do that. I think men are more inclined to problem solving. This is an issue. How do we fix it? I guess you sometimes see that in relationships, don't you? When women show up and they're like, I just want to talk it out. And the men are like, well, this is what you need to do to fix it. It's like, didn't really want that. I just want you to listen to me. Thanks. So yeah, men are more inclined to go into problem solving mode. I think they also get more angry, and because they don't have that space, I guess, to show their emotions and maybe to show up as their true self and be really vulnerable, it's a bit harder to navigate and recognize what's going on for them. They also bottle up their feelings, and unfortunately, I feel that men are more inclined to go down the substance abuse route, which isn't great again, but I guess people have their different ways of managing, people have their different ways of coping, people have their different defense mechanisms. So yeah. So that is what anxiety is. That is what some of the causes and the symptoms. This is how it shows up, why it's more likely to show up in women and why more women are likely to be diagnosed with it. But there is help, there is a way, there are things we can do to manage our anxiety and stress. And I guess one of the first things is, as I've just said, manage your stress. Try to manage your stress levels as best as you can. I think our problem is that half the time we don't even realise how stressed we are until we come out the other end. So it's important that you know what your triggers are. Is there a stressful period of time coming up? I don't know. Are things just a little bit rocky at the moment? It's really important that you try and manage your stress. As I said at the top of this live, stress is the precursor before anxiety. And a lot of the tips that I give, people know, but I think I try it once or twice. It's like it hasn't worked. So you have to be consistent with this. If it's taken years of you building up certain unhealthy coping mechanisms, unhelpful thinking styles, it doesn't change overnight. You have to give yourself some grace and period that it's going to take some time to change those things. So manage your stress, diet. We talk about it all the time. What's your diet like? If you eat good, you're going to feel a little bit better. Exercise. Exercise is my go-to. That's one of the key ways I manage my stress, you know. Worry chair. This is a real favourite with clients. So what I often say is, there's no point saying don't worry about this issue, because if you tell me not to worry, I'm going to worry even more. So what you do is you find an allocated space in your house, wherever, and you give yourself a designated time to worry, whether that be 15 minutes, 30 minutes. The reality is, if you say you're going to sit in a chair and worry for an hour, you're not going to sit there just worrying for an hour. So you give yourself a designated time. When the time is over, you find something to do, whether that be phone a friend, light a candle, put on some music. I don't know what you do, but you use something to distract yourself. I guess a lot of these things that I'm suggesting are distraction techniques. Again, it doesn't avoid or remove the issue, but what I'm trying to get you to do is not go down this constant rabbit hole of negativity. Talk. If it means you have to find a therapy, then this is what we're here for. If therapy isn't an option at the moment, find a friend, find a safe space. But it's really important that you talk. You need to free up your head. You need to free up some of that brain space to allow for emergencies. I can't remember the exact statistic, but let's just pretend there's 15% of brain space which is allocated for, I guess, there's an emergency, I need to react. But we eat into that with anxiety and stress. So yeah, find a safe space to talk.